Welcome to the WWE Podcast, your number one source for the latest in WWE news and straightforward analysis. Are you ready to get this thing going?
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Then let's get this show started right now.
All right, everybody, welcome to the WWE Podcast, and it's time for the mailbag. It's time for the mailbag. I would encourage you, though, just before we start the mailbag, head on over to Patreon, and the reason I say that is because we have an awesome new wrestling nostalgia show, one that I've never, ever done, and I've never gone back this far. Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 in March of 1987. I cover that for the first time ever on this show. I've never gone back that far. It was really fun to be able to do that and listen to that match in its entirety for the first time on the show and review it live with you guys, the patrons of the show. So if you're interested in such things and want to hear me cover the wrestling nostalgia of Hogan, Andre, WrestleMania 3, that is available to you over on Patreon. And it was really just so much fun to watch 80s wrestling. Because, I was born in 85, so I didn't exactly have time to watch this growing up. I didn't watch it in real time, and nobody in my family was a wrestling fan. So I got to, for the first time ever, listen and watch it and express my thoughts on it live with you guys. So head on over to Patreon, search out the WWE Podcast, and get yourself signed up. You can also get exclusive gear, mugs, everything else, and t-shirts. Just go view the page. You guys know where it's at. Exclusive. There's also one coming with the What If segment on Saturday morning with Anthony DeMarco. That's for the Raw tier and above over on Patreon. So a lot of bonus content over there. Gotta say. Oh, plus ad free for everything. Okay, let's get into it, guys. Let's get into your questions and comments for this mailbag episode here on May 12th, Wednesday, May 12th, 2021. So, speaking of the patrons, though, let's get to the patrons' questions. And that's also another perk of going to Patreon. A lot of perks there. If you sign up, you get priority placement in the show. And we do have a few of those individuals who have decided to write in. And let's get right to it. Let's get to Randy, our good old friend Randy there, writes in and says, "So Jimmy is back. Eventually, he will follow suit. What I'm wondering is, Naomi is going to follow suit also. I think that would be good to see her turn heel. Then you have a complete team. Maybe Lana decides to join them in some way, making her heel. What do you think about the Usos eventually taking the tag titles?" Okay, you have much more to your email, but I'll stop there. I think Naomi turning heel would be good for her. Honestly, I think anything would be good for her right now because she's not doing anything. Nothing. I mean, she's in a tag team with Lana. That's all you need to know about what Naomi's doing right now. Anything they could do with really either woman. I'm not a Lana hater. I just think that she is not at the level that most of the women are. And that's okay. She doesn't have to be. I'm okay with talent not always looking and feeling the same. But with Naomi, it does feel like she's been hidden away, doesn't it? But as far as the Usos taking the tag titles, I think it's inevitable. I think that they are easily the biggest team on SmackDown. And I think that them, along with Roman Reigns holding the gold, would be a nice visual. So yes, I think Jimmy will eventually come around as well. Because what's the alternative? Jimmy fights Jay, and what's he going to do? Try to make Jay see the light, but then you're sacrificing Roman Reigns not having the heel backup. I mean, it's not worth it. I think Jimmy does eventually come around. I agree. Okay, so you go on and say the Eva Marie thing is actually looking like you said. I'm getting annoyed with what's going on with the women. 5-minute matches. I thought we were past that. The only bright spots right now are Alexa Bliss and Charlotte. They need to get the titles off Shayna and Nia already, please. I don't care who you give them to at this point. I think possibly it could be Charlotte and it could be Charlotte that Alexa is targeting, maybe payback from when she beat Alexa years ago or something. Okay, to your second point, yep, I have nothing more to say about Eva Marie. You guys know how I feel. It's a regression of the women's division with her right now in terms again, in terms of how they presented her. Very sexualized. Agreed. 5 minutes that's been happening, it's a little bit of a throwback, and not in a good way. The fact that you want to see the titles off Shayna and Nia, yeah, I'm ready for it too. You know, they did it. They added value to the women's tag titles. Congratulations, and I mean that sincerely. They did add a lot of value to it, and great. Mission accomplished, but now it's time to move on. I mean, I do care who they drop them to, though. I think that the Riot Squad should be the rightful heirs to the throne, so to speak, to take those tag titles. They're long overdue. That's what I think. But as far as Charlotte targeting, Alexa targeting Charlotte, it could. Again, her reference to Red last week is what I'm using. I don't know how Red is targeting Charlotte unless she wore a red outfit. But Red, I don't know, targets any woman there. So, yeah, it could be. It could be. I don't know if she's going to bring that back up from years ago, but it's possible. So there have been talks that Daniel Bryan is trying to get a new contract in which he can wrestle with other promotions at the same time. Do you think that's a good idea, and would WWE agree to it? I think it's a good idea for Bryan. I mean, that's a good idea for any talent to be able to do. But does Daniel Bryan have the stroke to do that? The answer is no. The only person I can think of that WWE let them do something like that was Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar had a fight, I believe, with Mark Hunt during his WWE tenure. And Vince let him also compete in MMA while being employed by WWE. And you got to look at it this way, though. Is Daniel Bryan Brock Lesnar in terms of star power, household name? The answer is no. So Daniel Bryan, I don't think, swings that kind of power. I think he is a level or two below. And that's no disrespect to Bryan, but Brock Lesnar's on a whole different level. And I think it would be great for Bryan, but I don't think that that Vince is going to agree to something like that, unfortunately. I mean, I could see him in another promotion, but I don't know if his desire is to continue to wrestle or just raise a family. And then you say, lastly, I laughed so hard after Randy Orton RKO'd both New Day, and Riddle was like, you can't keep doing that. I like what they're doing. Oh, and one more thing. It was the brothers that were with Jinder, I think Zing Brothers or something. Thanks again, Matt. Stay safe. Keep doing what you do. Thanks, Randy. Yeah, I laughed at that too. And yeah, having Riddle saying, man, you can't keep doing that. That is actually kind of funny. I agree. Like I'm as long as Riddle has Randy Orton to bounce himself off of, I'm okay with it. If Riddle's is bouncing himself off of himself, that's the problem. All right, let's see here. Our next question or email comes to us, again, a patron of the show, from G-Man. G-Man from Reading, Pennsylvania. He says, so I heard a rumor that Mia Yim may be debuting on SmackDown this week and have a feud with Carmella. Hopefully that's true. I just hope it's Mia Yim and not Reckoning, please. I really like Mia Yim and can definitely see her win the Women's Championship on SmackDown, hopefully sometime next year. I'm so happy to see Eva Marie back. Man, she is smoking hot. I think she'll make a great pairing with Angel Garza. He's got the rose, so I think it makes sense, and it'll definitely boost his career on Raw. I'm a big fan of Angel Garza. He's entertaining for sure. Lastly, what the heck are they doing with Shayna? Man, I'm really tired of this week, each week with her. Okay, I'm done. Take care, my friend. All right, G-Man. I heard the same thing, too, about Mia Yim debuting on SmackDown. I don't want anything to do with Reckoning. She just is as far as her connection with Retribution, I want nothing to do with that. But Mia Yim, I think, would be an excellent addition to SmackDown. I think the women's division needs an infusion of new talent, for sure. So that'd be great. As far as Eva Marie, I mean, yeah, I'm glad you're happy to see her back. She is smoking hot, but at the same time, that's all we know about her right now. That's it. We know nothing else about Eva Marie other than, wow, she's hot. Right, and that's great, but I want more. Personally, I want more than that. As far as pairing with Angel Garza, yeah. I mean, I could see Angel Garza pairing with her and them being like this sexualized duo that is constantly infatuated with one another, which would boost Angel Garza's career, no doubt. Angel Garza doing anything right now would boost his career. And I think that would be entertaining for a short while. But Shayna Baszler, man, oh man, what are they doing, right? I mean, it's just one thing after another with Shayna. When you think they're about to break up and she's going to go on a tear, they just continue to pound her into the ground and lose via a knee to the head, which in reality should actually beat someone. But we've been educated to believe that kicks and knees to the head over and over and over are not going to finish a match. However, this week was the exception. So I don't know what the hell they're doing with Shayna. It's frustrating to watch. I'll say that. Okay. Thank you, G-Man. Okay. So, Deanna writes in and says, "Hey, Matt, in regards to Braun, I do get tired of him being angry and yelling all the time. And you know what else? I'm really overseeing him spit and mouth froth with his effie beard. It makes me dry heave." Yeah. I try not to get into that level of disgust with some of the things that happen. I don't think, I mean, he doesn't do that on purpose, right? It's just who he is. I mean, he is a big dude that probably sweats constantly, is always eating, and anytime he works out, he is an absolute disaster. His body is that's just what it is, right? He's not doing it on purpose, but it is kind of distracting and gross. I agree. That's funny. But on to a more pleasant topic. What do you think now that there is tension, quote, tension between Seth and Roman, of the possibility of Seth turning babyface, even though I know you don't like him as a face, and battling Roman for the belt? I know you love Roman, but I'm over him being champ and would really love Seth to hold it for a while. By the way, Shanky will strip Lashley of that title. Please don't say that. Please, Deanna, don't say that. No. Anybody by the name of Shanky should not even be under or in a WWE ring. I mean, that sounds like it's a different profession if you have the name Shanky. I'll just leave it at that. So, sorry this was so lengthy. Have a good one. I have to go eat some bromatoes. Boy, you guys know just what to say, right? I mean, I don't know what to say about bromatoes. I mean, you just add bro to anything and it becomes Matt Riddle's word. He has his own dictionary at this point. It's like Pig Latin. I mean, he's come up with his own like made up language. But as far as Seth and Roman, I'm glad you brought this up because I didn't. That was a segment that I've been waiting for to see what they do, because they've kept Seth and Roman apart for quite some time, rightfully so. They've been successful on their own. Roman much more so than Seth, but they're both heels now. And I wondered what they would do, if they would try to hint towards one way or the other, if they're going to turn one of them. Here's what I'd want. If you're going to turn one of them babyface, have it be Seth. That's fine. Have him challenge Roman for the belt. That's cool. As much as I don't like Seth Rollins as a babyface, I loathe Roman Reigns as a babyface, at least in his first iteration. I don't foresee anytime soon them turning Roman Reigns babyface. I think they view Roman as a champion for the next 6 months or more. Believe it or not. I mean, if they drop it at SummerSlam, I will be shocked. I could see them going to next year's WrestleMania. It's insane to say that, and I know you're over him being champion. They just changed his entrance music. He's got Jimmy, assumingly, back. Yeah, he's kind of in conflict, but he'll eventually come around. Paul Heyman's at his side. To me, this ends in Dallas for Roman. I don't know who against who. Maybe Big E, somebody like that. But right now, there's nobody better than Roman. And if it has to be at the sacrifice of Seth Rollins turning babyface, then so be it. So, all right, Deanna, thank you so much for your contribution and your pledge there on Patreon. Much appreciated. And we do have another message unrelated to the mailbag, but I do want to make an apology to Muller over there on Patreon. I misquoted who gave me that idea about who Alexa Bliss could be targeting. It was not Nathan. It was Muller about who Alexa Bliss could be targeting, with specifically her reference to red. And Muller did bring up Sonya Deville and seeing her wearing a red outfit. Yes, Muller, you get credit. You the man. All right. So I feel better now about myself and my mistakes. All right. Let's move on to, let's see. I do have some some actual emails here. Okay, this is from Dennis. Dennis writes in, how are you? I'd rather have seen Cesaro versus Reigns at SummerSlam instead of Backlash. Well, okay, first of all, kudos for just saying Backlash and not adding that extra word, so you get the email of the day. I'll send you a trophy or something. But you say that I think that it's Big E at SummerSlam to be the one to face Reigns. I think Reigns will hold the title until WrestleMania, where he will face McIntyre for the title because McIntyre will be moved to SmackDown in the draft. That's my opinion. Yep. Not to be a cop-out and give you a quick answer, Dennis, but yeah, I think that's probably what happens as well. As far as when Roman drops it, it's probably going to be to somebody at WrestleMania next year in Dallas. And it could be very well be Drew McIntyre. But they need to keep Drew McIntyre out of the title picture until then. Have him just be concerned about personal issues and beating other people up. Yes, I agree. And Big E could face Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. I think that's a great candidate. Ultimately, Big E fails, but Roman Reigns will, I think, if they have the patience, be the one to finally take it off of, McIntyre will be the one to take it off of Roman Reigns. So I agree. I think that's a solid, very plausible opinion. Agreed. Okay, let's see. Not too many just emails here. I do have, let's see. Oh, no, I do have, oh boy. I've got some big hitters here. This is from Mr. DJ Kuzmo, who I believe also has a voicemail coming up, but this is his email. One quick take from last week's Retro SmackDown is a segment when Roman, Jay, and Paul were doing the 10-bell salute to Daniel Bryan. They all stood in a pose that was similar to Rikishi, Scotty 2 Hotty, and Grandmaster Sexay, posing the same way in SmackDown back in the day when they were about to bust a dance move. Now that's a throwback. Somebody put a meme out there, and I thought it was just a joke, but it very well could have been a kind of a really random time to do a tribute to that. I mean, is there any more of a random time to do a tribute to the Too Cool than at that point? I mean, it could have been, and that's what made it really funny. Yeah. I now the more I think about it, it could have been. The image was all over Twitter, and I couldn't help but laugh out loud because I thought Roman, Jay, and Paul were about to break into a dance segment during the 10-bell salute. That would have been hilarious, but also crushing to the character of Roman. It's not the laughter you would have had during the segment would have not been enough to offset the pain of realizing how much he just destroyed. So, okay, back to the storyline at hand with the return of Jimmy Uso. I'm trying to read it in the way that you wrote it. Jimmy Uso's return brings an interesting element to the storyline. And the $1 million question will be, will he or won't he fall in line? It's left to be debatable. I think he will. As I've said, Jimmy will probably go the road of Jay and try to dissent or fight back. Ultimately, he will fall in line because Roman will threaten to debar him from the family or whatever he can do, apparently. But I think Jimmy will. Why? Because unless they see Jimmy Uso as an actual singles massive star, they won't sacrifice Roman Reigns for this, meaning that Roman Reigns needs backup. And if Roman Reigns doesn't have backup and Jimmy leaves and he convinces Jay to leave, Roman's left naked. It's not a good look for Roman. He needs his backup. All right, let's see here. Next point. I'm going to say I'm going on the side that Jimmy Uso will fall in line because if it's booked right, this could be the beginning of the elusive faction that we all wanted, the Bloodline. Yes, I agree. I think that's what I said on my last show. Also, with Jimmy Uso, quote, falling in line, evidently this could possibly lead to a slow burn for Jimmy to oppose the Bloodline and probably challenge Roman for the Universal title at a later pay-per-view, which he would lose to Roman, where the stipulation will probably be that Jimmy Uso must leave the Bloodline or face the consequences. Yep, I think that Roman's going to run out of contenders soon. So even if Jimmy challenges and he's descending against Roman, I think it's just nothing more than a stepping stone to get Roman to a bigger opponent. Sorry to say, but I think that's what it is. Roman Reigns is Universal Champion. The Usos gain the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Tamina becomes one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions. And hopefully Samoa Joe becomes the IC title if WWE brings IC Champion if WWE brings him back. That doesn't seem likely. Yeah, I really would not see Samoa Joe coming back, especially to win the IC title. Sorry, brother. Anyway, I have a brief Rhea Ripley rant on the way and my thoughts as to what may happen at Backlash. So, DJ, looking forward to that voicemail. It's coming up shortly. Also, credit to you. You fall into second place here for saying Backlash. There's no WrestleMania Backlash. There's no such thing. Okay. Let's see here. Of course, Terry. I cannot forget Terry here. Just want to say, Terry from Tennessee, I'm glad to see Jimmy Uso back, and I like the fact he stood up to Roman. Maybe that can make for another storyline down the line. But did he mention to Jay about regaining the tag belts so you could see the Dirty Dogs drop the titles to the Mysterios as a transition for the Usos to capture them? So it'll be heels versus faces. I would also like to see all three members of the Bloodline holding gold like the Hurt Business, but letting them all have a lengthy title reign, and hopefully Vince won't dissolve the group only a few weeks after. So I just wanted to know your thoughts on that. And wouldn't it be great if all members of the NOYE family joined forces? I think the Bloodline with Nia Jax, Tamina would be a good dominant faction. I agree. That would be awesome. But you don't see too many male-female groups. It almost never happens. Retribution happened for a blink of an eye. We had, what was it? Who was it? Andrade and Angel Garza and Zelina Vega for a brief moment. It's very rare. It'd be cool, but I don't see how you could really mix that in considering the genders don't fight one another. Or at least if they do, it's only the women who are allowed to beat on the men. The men can't retaliate. All they can do is gymnastics. So, a la Reginald. But I would agree that at the bare minimum, we will probably see the Usos recapture those tag team titles. Could it be against the Mysterios? Yes, I think it will be. I don't care if the Mysterios hold it for a little while. The Dirty Dogs are fine. I mean, the other thing is you could do, instead of doing a transitional, just have them do heel versus heel. I mean, I'm okay with that. If it's heel versus heel and the match is quick, I think you're fine. I don't think you have to have a transitional champion to just make it so it's heel versus babyface. I'm a big proponent of heel versus baby, but it doesn't have to happen in this instance, especially given the state of the SmackDown tag team titles and what they mean. Think about this. They were the only title not presented on WrestleMania. So, yeah, I hope that Vince doesn't dissolve them as well. Vince has a habit of putting groups together and just going, you know what? Screw this. That's what Vince does, or has done, at least lately. Okay, thank you, Terry, for your input on a weekly basis. Let's see here. Going to, oh boy, and this is, I believe, the final email of the night, and boy, oh boy, does my voice need a break. Starting to get a little sick here. Okay, this is from the Casual Wrestling Fan. He says, it's your favorite WWE podcast GM, Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan. Today, live on the Mailbag Show, it will be Matt versus The Undertaker. I love Teddy Long, as you said, and I say. I want to start off by saying, acknowledge him. Roman is on fire, but I have to say, I didn't like the Jimmy Uso angle. Wow, cool. You always have a very just anti-popular opinion, which is cool. I like that. You even say, this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I wish he wouldn't have brought up Hell in a Cell and just acknowledged Roman. I would have had Jimmy fall in line and start to take Jay's place as the right-hand man. I could see it now. Roman, you say, I could see it now. Roman says, I want you to take him out. And Jay says, I got you. Roman replies, I was talking to Jimmy. What do you think? Well, first, I like that visual. You cut good promos, my friend. I like that. Problem is, I also want to be rewarded for remembering things and not having my intelligence insulted. Because what he did at Hell in a Cell, yes, it was forever ago in the wrestling fans' minds, but it needs to be remembered. You can't not bring that up. It has to be brought up because it was significant of what he did to Jimmy and Jey Uso that night. Crying in the middle of the ring just to deceive Jimmy enough to put him in the guillotine and cause Jade to quit on behalf of his the health of his brother. That's just a low, sick thing to do, and you can't forget that. So I'm fine with Jimmy acknowledging him, but I didn't want them to forget what happened. At least if they had addressed it and said, let's move on. I had to do what I had to do to become remain champion. So that is true. So I'll split the difference with you, but I do like what Roman, your scenario of Roman telling him to take him out, and Roman says that he's talking to Jimmy, not Jay. Okay, has anyone noticed that since Sheamus won the U.S. title, he has not been on the Hulu version of Raw? I personally love Sheamus' matches, and it's very disappointing that the United States champion hasn't been on Hulu since Riddle was champion. Yep, I've noticed this my last several Raws, that he has just been in oblivion. One of those deals where WWE goes, yeah, we'll give him the belt at Mania. And somebody goes, well, what are we going to do with him after Mania? And, Vince's reply is, we'll figure it out. And it's one of those deals where, well, they're still figuring it out. Obviously, Humberto Carrillo got injured this past week. I don't think that was an angle. I think that was a shoot. So hopefully, he gets better. But as far as Sheamus not being on the Hulu version, that's all you need to know about long-term booking with WWE and follow through. They have nothing for Sheamus. And it's not as if he just won his match at Mania and they don't know what to do with him. He's the United States champion. It is very frustrating. I agree. Sheamus deserves that belt and deserves a hell of a storyline, and he's getting nothing. Perhaps after WrestleMania Backlash, I said it, they will have something more for him, I hope. Did you see Alexa use her powers on Shayna? No. I honestly thought she blew her knee out. Great selling until Corey Graves commented that something bizarre just happened. I'm really not interested in an indestructible Alexa Bliss, but at least I got rid of the raccoon look. Yeah, the raccoon look is true. I see what they were trying to do with the eyeshadow, but it did become a little bit too much. I actually didn't catch that, my friend. I thought that was just having Shayna Baszler lose. I did not catch that. Did anyone else catch that? I'll have to go back and watch. Something bizarre just happened. Maybe it was Lily interfering. Good catch. Who do you think gets more backstage heat, Rhea or Charlotte? Less than a month ago, after debuting, Rhea is Raw Women's Champion, and the promos that Charlotte does on the women and the roster has to ruffle a lot of feathers. Charlotte. I think Charlotte gets more backstage heat than anybody in terms of the women's division, because people genuinely feel that Charlotte Flair just gets handed opportunities, and she's constantly in the title picture. And you know what she is, but she is the opportunity. And when she's on the screen, more people watch. And when she's in the match is better. So people can complain all they want. Charlotte Flair is everything that she says she is. But I think right now Charlotte is the one that gets the most heat. Just because of some people probably still feeling that she's only here because of her last name. And again, she's always in the title picture, as I said. But yeah, I think Rhea hasn't been there long enough to know whether or not she's, or the women don't know what to really think of her yet. And I think that Rhea's championship run so far has been very underwhelming. MVP should win Manager of the Year. The only thing I don't agree with is the fact that is they act as if he can't defend himself. He did just win a martial arts tournament in December. Man, you keep up on this stuff. I don't like that either. It feels as if they're transitioning him now to a traditional manager. And I'm cool with that. But he does, like you said, if that's true, and I believe you, that he won a martial arts tournament, how is he not defending himself here? He's walking around with a cane like, Pimp Daddy, and he can't defend himself. He should be able to take a bump at least. But if he's transitioning to a managerial role, then it's like his powers have been taken away, right? So it's like when somebody is a guest referee, and suddenly when they're a guest referee, accidentally, slamming into them or clotheslining them is like hitting them with a sledgehammer, and they're out for 10 minutes. Whereas if they were in a match and they had that move applied to them, nothing would happen, and they would just get right back up and sell the next move. So I agree. MVP should win Manager of the Year. I think he's even candidate to just win MVP flat out in WWE as a whole. MVP has been that instrumental in the enjoyability of Monday Night Raw and the ascent of Bobby Lashley. He is directly responsible for the success of the Hurt Business. He's responsible for, again, not all, but in part, directly responsible for the success of Bobby Lashley. No doubt. Hopefully, the almighty WWE champion Bobby retains. I'll be truly pissed if they put the belt back on Drew. Totally agree. I don't want to see the belt on Drew. I'm done with it. I've said this many times. He needs to move on. Move on. Get us something different that Drew can chase. Revenge. I mean, it's that simple. Thanks all for this week. Holla, holla, holla. Yes, Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan. Good job, my friend. Please continue to write in or call in, however you choose. Okay, that, mercifully for my voice, is the end of the emails. So with that said here, I believe we have... Oh, wait, I lied. Sorry, guys, this is quick. Oh, no. Typically, Jeff from the Philippines does give me a voicemail, and I opened his email, and it's actually text. It's not a voicemail, so... Okay. I'm an awful person today. Hey, Matt, this is Jeff from the Philippines. It's Thursday morning here as I'm typing this email. I forgot to send one last night. I hope this one still makes it to the Mailbag show, so here are my points. WWE seems to have forgotten some angles they did a few weeks ago. Remember when Elias tried to smash a guitar in AJ Styles and Omos protected AJ by kicking the guitar? They were teammates in the 8-man tag match on Raw and acting like there's no heat between them. Yep. And the fact that I forgot it is a testament to how important that angle was, which was it's not important at all in the eyes of WWE. But it's also a testament to maybe my lack of intelligence or I don't know, whatever it is. I don't remember that. This past Raw, I mean, I remember the spot, but watching this Raw, I wasn't like, hey, they didn't follow up on that. But good observation, Jeff. Second, is Rhea Ripley telling Sonya that Charlotte is trying to make her and Asuka turn on each other by suggesting Sonya for them to face each other in a one-on-one match. Rhea already turned on Asuka before WrestleMania when they were tag team partners in a match against Nia and Shayna. Rhea now is supposed to be a heel, but acting like a babyface. Hope you are doing well. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Rhea Ripley. I really have no idea. She has the Raw Women's Championship, and she doesn't feel relevant. It's crazy. I don't mean she feels irrelevant and they should fire her or she go back to NXT. No. But again, 2 words. Follow through. And they don't understand what follow through is, or if they do, they don't care. After that massive victory from Rhea, albeit not a great match with Asuka at WrestleMania, you would think that they would have some kind of plan for her moving forward. Something to continue to build her, and they have done almost nothing. Rhea she comes out, she is supposed to be a heel because you listen, and the pumped in crowd noise is a heel reaction. But she's kind of acting like a babyface. Agreed. I don't think they know what the hell to do with her. Seriously. I don't know. And they don't know. I think we just need to move past Backlash so we can get WrestleMania out of our brains and we can move on to something fresh. That's what I'll just say about that. Thank you, Jeff. Weird to get an email from you. Usually it's a voicemail, but hope you're doing well too. Okay. I promise that's it. And even if there's not, I'm just not going to read it. So that is the last email, no matter what. So with that said, guys, let's get to our first voicemail for the evening and see who it is.
It's Kyle from Baltimore, Maryland. I want to talk about Alexa again. You know, I don't know what she's waiting for. She keeps warning people to attack someone, and I would think she's going to wait until Sunday's over with. I would hope if she does this again a second time next week, then I'll be kind of a little not concerned, but just repeating the same thing over and over again. I hope she moves on from that, talking about it, you know. And another thing too is about Drew McIntyre. I have said on here before that I'm not a Drew McIntyre fan, and I find him very boring at this point. and he needs to move on from the WWE Championship. I heard other people talking about it, that he needs to move on, and I completely agree. Needs to move on and not be the title picture ever again. So after Backlash, no more WWE Championship opportunities for McIntyre in the future, because too much of it. That's it. Big call. Bye.
Hey, Kyle. Thanks for calling in as always. And yeah, look, McIntyre, I think we all are a little bit exhausted, even if you're a big McIntyre fan, of him chasing the WWE Championship. It's been a long time since he's focused on anything else other than the WWE Championship. So if they crown him champion at Backlash, I think fans would, if they were in attendance, boo the hell out of that. He has become just again, obsessed with becoming champion. And that's, that's fine, but not for this long. I can't remember in recent history the last time for a top championship someone has been so constantly absorbed in the challenger and or champion picture. It's been a long time. I know Brock Lesnar had it off and on for several months or years, but not this consistently, not week in, week out. And Drew, as good as he is on the mic, as good as he is in the ring, presence, all that, and respect and all that, it's time for him to change. I'd even welcome a little bit of a heel turn. Give him a little bit of a heel turn for now. I don't know who your top babyface would be on Raw. So that's the other problem. Got to have a dancing partner. But if the opportunity presented itself, yeah, why not? Why not? So thanks, Kyle, and let's keep things rolling.
Hey, Matt. It's Bevan from Australia here. Got a few points this week. A little bit of a rant and a bit of an idea. So I watched Raw, and I see Alexa Bliss came out to the three-person tag team match that involved Charlotte, Asuka, the two blondies. I think it was Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, and then I think it was, excuse me, I'm having a blank, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. And then Alexa came out sitting on her swing saying, she's just coming to keep an eye on them. But then the previous week, she said that she had her eyes on someone in red or something in red. There was nothing red there. There wasn't even the Raw Women's Championship, which is a red belt. So I don't know how that's tied in. But further to that, I think this is just really my own opinion too, is that I'm super pissed that Alexa Bliss's character has come at the detriment of Bray Wyatt, the Fiend. I know you've gone over this, so I don't expect you to reiterate it or anything, but I just think it sucks. And I would like to get involved in the Alexa Bliss storyline, which is going to be exciting. But it left me with a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth, knowing how it came about. And I wonder if this would have got booed, knowing that Alexa has basically risen to this character at the detriment of the Fiend. My other idea is, now with Jimmy Uso back, I always thought that Jey Uso wasn't really the best right-hand man. Okay, he won Andre the Giant Memorial Trophy, which means jack. Absolutely nothing. However, and he's always ended up losing matches, and then Roman's had to go in and clean up. And now with Roman's entrance music changing, to me that gives us an indication that he's going to be reigning, pardon the pun, for a very long time. So it's just changed the music now, which is good. So I think Jimmy and Jay should go on a tag team tear, get the belts, and then at least when Roman comes out with his two cousins, they've got all the gold. And that's going to make it look even more powerful and more harder to overcome for anyone who dares go in their way. So I hope Jimmy and Jay get the tag team titles and this dynasty continues to a point where everyone just wants them beaten up, but I think that needs to be built up a bit longer. Anyway, that's all I have, and thanks for the great shows as usual. Take care. Bye.
Hey, Bevan. Thank you for calling in. It's great to hear your thoughts, and let's dive into them. The fact that you brought up Alexa Bliss talking about she's got her eye on somebody in red, and this past week, lo and behold, there's nobody in red. But the week that she she could have been targeting Sonya Deville, who was wearing like a red plaid suit, or she could just be talking in general, I think, about the Raw Women's Championship. So maybe she wasn't talking about maybe a specific person that week, but rather just the belt. And this week she found her target, which maybe is Asuka. I think it's Asuka personally. I don't think she's going to go right after Charlotte. I think you saved that match for SummerSlam. But if you're sick of her character because it's at the expense of The Fiend, yep, I can see that. I can see that. If you're looking at it as one cohesive story, yes. If you're looking at this in a vacuum and saying, okay, well, Alexa hasn't got a fair shake. Alexa Bliss hasn't got her own storyline. She's just been incessantly tied with The Fiend. Then we need to give Alexa Bliss a chance here, I think, because I want to see what she can do on her own without being just constantly associated with The Fiend. And they made that hard break after WrestleMania, albeit we don't agree, many of us, I think most of us, don't agree with Alexa Bliss and the storyline that unfolded at WrestleMania, which was a complete disaster. It was awful. One of the worst payoffs from WrestleMania in recent memory, especially with a 4-month build. And I just think that the one benefit is that Alexa Bliss did get her own story out of all this. And that's what I wanted, even if the big problem is it comes at the expense of The Fiend. So it depends if your brain can untie the two or look at them as their own silos. But Jimmy and Jay getting the gold. Yep, I mentioned this throughout the show. I think that they if they capture the SmackDown tag team titles and Roman holds the Universal, it's just going to be that much better of a look, that much more of a powerful group. There's no downside here. So Jimmy may revolt for a while, and he may be the hero that comes to finally talk some sense into Jay, and they turn on Roman, and Roman dissolves. I think that's all going to be unfounded. It's going to be teased, but not actually followed through. And the bigger strategy and the right strategy is to continue to build Roman Reigns, and it should be around a group, a faction of the true bloodline here. So good stuff, Bevan. Thank you for calling in. Hope you're doing well, and looking forward to hearing from you next week. So, okay, I think this is the final voicemail, so let's hear who it is. I think I have an idea, and it's going to be high energy. Here we go.
Hello, WWE Podcast World. This is none other than yours truly once again, DJ Kuzmo, back at it again on your Mailbag show. Are you ready for Backlash this Sunday? Because I am totally not. I'm totally stoked for what's going to happen, hopefully at Money in the Bank, which is going to be probably the next pay-per-view after Backlash. This coming Sunday at Backlash, we shouldn't be seeing any title changes. We should probably see everybody retain their titles. We might probably get one or two swerves, but everything should be set in stone that the major titles will not be changed in hands. I want to talk about Rhea Ripley on Monday Night Raw. She is currently our Raw Women's Champion. First and foremost, I gotta say, I'm not getting any type of emotional value from Rhea Ripley. Okay, she just first came in to the main roster a couple of weeks before WrestleMania, and then she challenged Asuka for the title. She defeated Asuka at WrestleMania. The crowd wasn't really into the match, and there were some chemistry issues during WrestleMania, but I'm not getting any emotional value from Rhea Ripley. We don't know, is she a babyface? Is she a heel? What is she? Okay, you know, her tagline that she's the Nightmare. You know, she was a great champion at NXT UK. She was a great champion at NXT. But who is Rhea Ripley? You know, and if you look at, in comparison to Bianca Belair, you see Bianca's charisma. You see all of the stuff that we kind of have that emotional value for Bianca, but I'm not getting that from Rhea Ripley. So this is a question to ask. Is Rhea Ripley going to drop the belt at Backlash? And if so, does Charlotte Flair take the title? And last but not least, I want to mention that the Bosch Guy is on Twitter. The Bosch Guy is on Twitter. Man, I'm so happy that the Bosch Guy is on Twitter. And I will talk to you next time.
DJ, awesome. Thank you for calling in, and appreciate your energy every week. Yeah, a little spunk to the show, gotta say. You know, I'm not the most high energy guy in my show sometimes, unless I'm losing my mind on something. Thank you for adding that jolt of energy we needed. to end the show especially. So let me take this piece by piece here. Who is Rhea Ripley? I don't know. I hate to be so lame about it. Again, if you didn't watch NXT, which WWE has to assume that their fans don't, who the hell is Rhea Ripley? Because they cannot assume people watch NXT. They can't. Because I think the majority of fans that watch Raw and SmackDown don't. I mean, the ratings show it. So you have to introduce the fans to Rhea Ripley, and they've done nothing for character development. Other than, okay, she looks different. She's kind of goth. She's the Nightmare. And she has an accent. And that's it. That's the one that took the belt from Asuka. We don't know anything about her. And like you said, is she babyface or heel? The only way that I know is by listening into the pumped crowd noise, because that is the telltale sign of how they have this person cast. And right now she's getting boos. Yeah, she's acting kind of like a babyface. It's bizarre. I don't know what they're doing with Rhea. But does she drop the belt? I would say, as you said, DJ, if there was going to be one or two swerves at Backlash, appreciate you saying Backlash, by the way, I think Rhea could be the one big swerve. Because I don't think right now she's on fire right now. I don't think people are going to lose their minds if she dropped the belt versus other champions right now. They're doing a much better job. Like Bobby Lashley, for example, or Roman Reigns. If they dropped the belts, it'd be a much bigger deal and honestly a much more problematic change than Rhea Ripley dropping the belt to Charlotte. I think Charlotte's a better candidate right now. She is on fire. Rhea Ripley right now is kind of lost in the sauce. They've done no follow through. That is a common theme right now from WrestleMania. Is they got to WrestleMania and they went, "Whew, glad we got through that, guys." And they forgot that, like, oh crap, that's right. We have to continue the storylines. It's like they forgot. And they forgot to do character development. They just were like, oh, that's right, guys. Crap, we do that too, don't we? Oh, man, I totally forgot. It's like they just took a vacation after WrestleMania. It feels like that. So I can't wait to get through Backlash, because then they can take away WrestleMania. It's on to a new chapter, new programs, new feuds, probably some call-ups. I'm looking forward to the next pay-per-view, once we get past this Sunday. So, oh, and yes, the Botch Guy is on Twitter at @Botch_guy. So he's doing well already. He's already got 400 some followers within being on there a day or two. So good for him. He's reaching about 71K on YouTube, doing very well there. So follow the Botch Guy at @Botch_guy on Twitter. And you know what, guys? I just had a voicemail come up, and it actually got recorded earlier today, and for some reason, it just popped up. I promise I don't do this on purpose. So let's take a listen. I believe this is Justin from Maryland. So, Justin, take it away.
Hey, man. How you doing? This is Justin from Maryland. Just had a quick couple of points to talk to you about. The first is from SmackDown. You didn't really talk about the Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns interaction backstage after Seth Rollins lost to Cesaro. Question is, where, so I think we know that they're going to feud at some point, hopefully around SummerSlam time. Who do you want to see play the heel and babyface in that? Because Seth Rollins is currently a heel right now, and so is Roman, but you can't have two heels fighting against each other. So I feel like maybe Seth Rollins can probably turn babyface, but that didn't really work the last time. So I just want your thoughts on that interaction, because you didn't actually talk about it on your week review. So just want your thoughts on that. I just wanted to say that I feel like Lashley should retain that Backlash. Strowman should take the fall. I don't like seeing Drew lose. He took a clean loss to Lashley. Well, he had interference, but he took a pinfall loss to Strowman. So I feel like Strowman should take the fall, have Drew just go on a couple of feuds, pick up some wins, and then just go back in the title picture. And last is the Usos. So I want to see them reunite. They need to get those tag titles back, because I think that Mysterio and Dominic are going to win. And then the Usos should go after the title, take the belts off them, and then they and Reigns can rule over SmackDown for a while. But, all right, man, thanks. I can't wait to hear your responses, and take care. I'll talk to you next week.
Hey, Justin. Well, I'm glad I caught your voicemail before we ended the show. So, okay, now your questions may already partially be answered because the Rollins versus Roman thing, I don't know how I missed it on the weekend review. So that's my bad, certainly. But in short, if you didn't catch it earlier, I think that what's going to happen, or what should happen if they are going to face off against one another, is Rollins goes babyface. I don't want Roman turning babyface for any reason at all. None. I don't care what happens. I don't care what happens, who comes back. Roman stays heel. Again, no circumstance right now could sway me the other way. So Rollins would go babyface, challenge Roman Reigns. Perhaps it happens at SummerSlam. Or Seth Rollins goes back to babyface temporarily. I know I'm not a fan of a Seth Rollins babyface. Perhaps he can present something to me that's not so forced like it was the first time around after he beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania and people just were like, you ain't so great as champion. I hope this is something different. So if he can sell me on that, then maybe I'll be rooting for him to beat Roman. But I don't think that him being champion is worth the sacrifice of dropping the belt right now for Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is on a special run. He's doing something very special right now. So I would not drop the belt. I wouldn't, again, my destination for Roman Reigns drop the belt, WrestleMania 38. And I'm not kidding. So Lashley retaining at Backlash, yes. No question. Strowman takes the fall and we call it a day. End of discussion. Moving on with our lives. Yes, Lashley retaining, in the words of Daniel Bryan, yes. Usos getting the tag titles, no question. I'm going over this over my mailbag too. Usos getting the tag titles with the bloodline holding all the gold is a hell of a visual, isn't it? No question about that either. So thank you so much, Justin, and I'm looking forward to maybe hearing you next week. Okay, that's it for me tonight, guys. Thank you again for listening. Head on over to patreon.com/WWE podcast if you want an ad-free experience where it's for $1. You can get the Wrestling Nostalgia Show, shout-outs, lots of other cool stuff, direct access to me via message. If you go on the Raw tier, of course, and higher, you get the What If exclusive show that Anthony DeMarco and myself do, as well as other really cool stuff, a direct Discord server that we can chat during the pay-per-view on, among other really cool stuff. So, all right, that's it for me, guys. Thanks always for giving us some support and telling a friend, because that's what helps this show grow. Give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts if you love us. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you next time.